March of '09, they filed the foreclosure proceedings on our house. We hadn't missed a payment, but they determined that we were not a good risk because he no longer had the income. So they filed a foreclosure despite the fact that we hadn't missed a payment. They then went forward with a modification, which has never happened. We've never gotten any kind of a response from them except make this payment and we'll get back to you. That has been almost a year ago. We are keeping up with those payments based on his unemployment. I just lost my job last week.
Oh, jeez.
So we probably won't be able to keep up with those payments now, but of course my unemployment will be less, but with his unemployment gone, we have no chance of being able to keep this house, and we've been battling with the mortgage company for a year. And the unemployment, him losing his unemployment will take care of any chance of us being able to keep the house. So yes, this is not only important for us, but here's another foreclosed home in our neighborhood that has many foreclosed homes already. So there goes, property values keep going down and down and down. So you can't sell a house, and it's this big cyclical issue that, I mean, we're just one. I'm sure this story is everywhere in this room and all over the place. So that's our story.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
That really highlights what's happening, as you're saying, where there isn't a house in any neighborhood now that doesn't have a foreclosure, or very rarely. So, and as you say, that impacts not just you, it's the entire neighborhood, all your neighbors. And then as those houses drop in value, you get this vicious circle. So, absolutely, which is important. And having delays of checks is not helpful for you as well.
No, not at all, because the mortgage company doesn't want to wait, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they'll bring action if you're there, which is why it's a week or two is a big delay.
Yes.
And I know this is a difficult subject to talk about, but if there's anybody else that want to share anything.
My name is Scott Glazer, I'm from Clawson. Actually, in March, my wife was in a car accident, so she lost her vehicle because her car was totaled. And the money we got from the insurance company to cover that car, we've just been saving because my last job was in banking and mortgage company. So I was just like, okay, we need to hang on to this money in case something bad happens. And then in
So
August,
you fix the car.
So yeah, right. The car was totaled, so we're on one car, and I got laid off in August, and then we both. She has 2 associate's degree. I have 1 associate's degree. So on top of the regular bills, we're trying to cover all our student loans, and we've tried deferring them as far as we can, trying to make all the payments we can, and I mean, it's this, like, you're just scrounging every bit of money you can to, okay, what can we cut? What can we cut? Well, we're getting to the point where you can't cut anymore. You can only cut so much. We're trying to cut, like, what we're buying for food-wise, just, okay, now we just need to buy the essentials. Okay, well, do we really need this? So with that, you got to kind of cut down on everything you're spending, and it just gets to be cumbersome and
It's
like
bare bones.
frustrating. Yes,
Very bare bones.
exactly.
Right, right. And a delay is a big deal.
Oh
for
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah, Chris
Go
Ransom,
ahead.
Farmington Hills, also to the, the bills that we have to pay. A lot of times for our doctor bills, I mean, you only go if you really have to, but sometimes you get caught in the shuffle if they don't do the coding correctly. So then it's a long process to try and get it. They still say you have to pay towards the bill. So you're continually calling them. Well, then when they finally, finish what the procedure they have to. Some doctors' offices will allow you to make minimum payments and others won't. So it's, you try working with them saying, listen, we didn't have this test because we didn't have nothing better to do. But, I want to pay something, but I'm only on unemployment. Usually you find somebody, that is willing to work with you, and then other times they just don't care. So that also falls into the others with, I was telling you earlier, a friend that I used to work with, he and his wife are about to lose their home, and everything. And, you keep applying and everything. And like he told me yesterday, that as more people, if they don't pass the unemployment, that just means more people are going to lose their homes. And then what's that going to do to the economy? It's not just going to bring the houses, down in what they're worth. there's gonna be more people going on welfare and everything. And
Right.
it's just, this
Right.
is just gonna snowball, worse for everybody.
Right, right. And that highlights, as I mentioned, is that this is about the overall economy too. From an
Right.
economic stimulus standpoint, you can't have people who aren't able to buy things, aren't
Right.
able to hold on to things, dumping real estate on the market.
Right.
That it is critical for us
Right.
as we're thinking about how do you get the economy going.
Right.
It's more than, as important as the safety net is for people, which is incredibly important. It's got even broader ramifications because
Yes.
it's about getting our economy going.
On that note, my name's Mary Sallett from here in Troy, and I did recently interview with a company who's growing at leaps and bounds. It's a creditors' rights company. So this
Creditors' rights, yeah.
Creditors' rights, so they're gonna, they wanna hire me to go after, well, actually, I haven't been offered the job, let's put that on the table first, but, if I were, then it would be to call people like us to say, hey, where's our, why aren't you paying us? Why don't I have a job? It doesn't matter, we need our money, we wanna be paid. We'll take you to court. Well, it just doesn't seem fair. It adds to the stress and
Yes.
things that we're already going through with no job, with no money.
Right.
And then people are gonna call and harass, and, and I know there's a certain law that you can't get away with that forever, but if you're owed money, you can call,
Right.
and call, and call, and it just
Right.
doesn't help.
Right,
So-
absolutely. And then you mentioned the stress that you're under with those calls, and then when you have a delay in your unemployment check, it just
Right, with no money,
adds, it already compounds an incredibly
can't-
stressful situation for people.
can't even promise them when you will send a check, because you don't know when you're gonna get anything if you have no unemployment.
And that's what I heard certainly so much on the phone this week, particularly just the uncertainty of this because of it pending, and are they gonna vote, what's gonna happen? The uncertainty is
Yeah.
an incredible drain on people, just from a emotional and psychological perspective with the uncertainty of it. Which is why it was so important to act, and then now we go back, and when is it gonna act, when's it gonna be the delay? In these very unstable times, the last thing people in this country and in Michigan need now is this kind of uncertainty when it comes to something as critical as unemployment compensation. It's just so important for people. So it's important for you to be here today, thank you.
Again, my name is Pat Nair. The criticalness of it is so bad that some of them are committing suicide. And we had a good friend that 2 weeks ago, he committed suicide. My brother's on unemployment. He's a pharmacist. He's over 65. Nobody will hire him. It's just critical.
Mr. Peters, what is Mr. Bunning's issue? Has he said, besides he had to get to his basketball game, but besides that, what is his issue with this?
And I don't want to speak for him on that, but my understanding is that he doesn't know where the money's going to come from, how do we pay for it? And my response to that is that this, where it comes from is secondary right now because it's an emergency expenditure. And that's what we wanted to stress with all of your stories here, as we were hearing very, very clearly. That these are emergency expenses, just like when we have a hurricane hits. You provide emergency assistance to people in the hurricane, and certainly we gotta pay for it. But that's a secondary consideration to getting help to people right up front is what we're going to do. And that's what this is. This is an emergency situation. Why it has to continue to happen, and why these extensions of unemployment that we've had several of them, but how important they are. For all the reasons that have been stated here, to keep people together. It's about stimulating the economy. If people aren't going back, if we can't get people back to work, get the economy going, we're not going to ever be able to pay for it. The way to pay for it is getting the economy going, getting people back to work, and they can start paying taxes again because they're working, and then you pay for these emergency expenditures. But this is an emergency expenditure, so to have one person standing in the way of an emergency expenditure for that reason, to me, doesn't make any sense when you're in the face of an emergency.